My nails look like things.
We love it. We love it. We love it. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm really great. I got my family here.
Yes, we start with family.
Yes. So we're all family too.
Exactly.
I've been to all the houses, right? I've been to your house.
Literally. At grandma's table, like this is what we do.
Dance on the table at grandma's. All right.
Okay, so we gotta start this off as like hardcore as possible. Okay, you're a native New Yorker.
Yes.
I love New York City.
That's right. More hardcore than New York City.
Here's the thing, I try to go every time I get a chance to, but I've never been to Sesame Street.
Me neither.
No. We know you have been on Sesame Street.
I have been on Sesame Street,
Okay,
but I've never been to
Okay,
Sesame
so
Street.
I need you to tell me how to
Sesame
get
Street
there.
came to me.
You, of course they did. Of course they did.
Okay, so what happened was,
Let's hear this.
my neighbor was dating a cameraman from Sesame Street. And then they wanted to do a piece. You know how they would do those awesome little videos that were like just side videos that showed you like dance class or something like that?
Of course.
So we have a lot of awesome community gardens in the Lower East Side. And people like Bette Midler actually have made it possible for them to stay that way and not actually be taken over by developers because we need our green spaces. And she was working with this small organization called Children's Liberation, and they had young kids in it, and they were going to have them walk through the garden and do all this cool stuff. And they needed someone to look after it. So it was actually one of my first jobs. I got paid $20 to look after these kids. And then they gave me voice acting work because I narrate on it a little bit, and I'm featured in it. I'm like the lanky, tall child above the other kids, and I still get recognized from it too.
Absolutely. Come on, you're basically.
The one thing I very much no, but like some of my first performing actually is related to Sesame Street. I used to have a phonograph player that looked like a big bird. And I had a record of all of these different stories and songs and stuff, and I would sit my family down and I'd be like, "You ready?" And then I would like perform as each of the characters. It was a lot. I mean, they humored me, and here we are today.
You got it. But as a New Yorker, what borough would Sesame Street be in your opinion?
Where Brooklyn at?
Hey!
That's right. Coney Island, baby.
Okay, all right.
See,
Okay, so now I have to get super personal. Okay, this is almost like.
wow, from hardcore to
Yes,
personal.
yeah. So, if you had to choose, who would be your favorite Sesame Street character and or Muppet? If you had to pick. See, you hear how personal I was right there?
See, I can't do that to Grover or to Big Bird or to, you know, I mean, there's so many of them, but I feel like because nothing of it is actually imaginary, he could be here right now with us. Right now.
He's backstage.
He's backstage. Yes. No, but I love all of those characters so much. I mean, one, two. I mean, I can't. There's so much of my life that like that I literally do. And I had this. I'll talk about. I remember back they had this book on Grover going to school, and it came with this little cassette tape. And I think of it all the time because he was really trying to make friends with everyone, and so he kept giving away all his nice things to everyone. And then by the time he got to lunch, he had traded over his sandwich, and he was just crushed because he was just like not having a good time. And he's like, and I don't like bologna. Whenever I see bologna, I think of poor little Grover. Finally learning boundaries. It was a very good lesson.
It's very sincere. It's very sincere.
Yes, but I love all of it. If you watch the Big Bird documentary, you know just how special it is and how much work that these folks put into it. And I love that my love for puppeteering and just, you know, obviously Mr. Rogers as well, like just that idea of play and intergenerational connection. You know, it's definitely made moments like on Men in Black 2 and obviously with Little Grogu just that much more special for me. Because I just know that absolute inherent value in that kind of storytelling.
You do it so well. So
yes, it's nice to see. I mean, I love animation. I love all those different things, but to actually know it physically exists.
Yes.
And can I just do my impression of Pedro? Right? So, I wasn't there on set, but I know with the puppet of Little Grogu, he's got his little hand on a stick, right? And so I'm just imagining he's doing this amazing scene where he's giving him away to Luke. He's taking his helmet off. And he's trying to do this beautiful scene with Little Grogu, and there's a guy with a stick going like this. And that's amazing actor. I cried in that scene, even though I know for a fact there's this in gray. Fire.
Wow. Can you get an Academy Award for a TV show? I think we should. We should. Absolutely. Okay, so you being on Sesame Street, featured on Sesame Street like that at such a young age, was acting on your radar yet at the time?
No, I mean, I think there's some piece of paper I wrote down somewhere where I was like, I want to be a star when I grew up, but I think that's what happened to a lot of kids. My mom was a singer. My uncle was a comic book artist. My grandmother was a poet. My other grandmother was also a poet and photographer. And I grew up around a bunch of starving artists. So for me, I was like, that's so dope to be creative, but I don't think I ever thought of it as truly being a career. All of those people who did that and did these beautiful things that I was so moved by did it in their spare time.
That's brilliant.
And so I'm just so grateful that I grew up with art around me, but did I think that I could actually live all of this and help support my family and be able to use it for organizing and activism? Absolutely not. I mean, it blows my mind to think, that was when I got discovered from kids when I was 15.
Make some noise for that.
I remember I loved it and I got scared because I loved it so much. And, but I knew from the people, especially I grew up homesteading, I grew up in a squat on the Lower East Side in an abandoned building. And most of the people there and in that whole community were artists and subsisting on very little every day. And I just knew, I wanted to be a marine biologist or, studying civil engineering at Columbia. I was like, I'm gonna get a real job because I'm not trying to squat for the rest of my life. But I knew that the opportunity I was getting, they would kill for, and so I leaned in as hard as I possibly could. And I just feel very, very grateful and blessed that because also I didn't expect it to pan out.
Sure.
I kept waiting for that Apollo hug. Remember the Apollo hug that just yanked me off the stage and be like, this person from Juilliard is going to take your place now because she's serious and you're not. I just kept waiting for that moment to happen. So in the meanwhile, I was like, I'm going to do this and a little bit of that. And when it gets too boring over here, I'll try this because I'm not trying to be typecast or do things that make me uncomfortable. I just am really interested in just learning my artistry and exploring, and I think that genre jumping, which I was inspired by Tim Curry, the great. Tim Curry, who did voice work, who did horror, who did prosthetic work with Legend, who, it Kiss Me If I Play. I am obsessed. Frankfurter's best character ever.
Oh, yes. Do you time work? Like just random?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, just checking.
You can do it again. So, it's like I just wanted to just explore because I didn't expect for it to last. And, it's pretty remarkable. I'm in my 40s learning martial arts because of Ahsoka. This is what
and I think that's literally the reason why we love you so much. And we actually played a game just to see how well we think we know you.
Oh.
So we're gonna do
Before I have it?
Yeah. We're gonna do a kind of a which would you rather?
kind of like a little heads up action.
Yeah. So I've got the answers right here. You don't have to worry about snitching. Okay.
Snitches get stitches.
Yeah, they do. Okay, so would you rather nurse Punisher or Daredevil?
Well, after that walk of shame Daredevil did at the show, I feel like he's moved on. And I never got to work with Punisher, so I'm gonna have to go with Punisher.
Ooh.
The one that's the only shows that I have.
Ooh, so
I already told Matt that I would be there for him.
Of course.
He knows this.
That's
But he's moved on, so.
No.
Respect.
You were busy. You were elsewhere.
I understand.
Because
It's okay.
you may have moved on in the show as well. You and Luke kind of.
Oh, I left that. You know that. Don't
Listen,
know
I
that.
do.
That's in the past too.
So you're available. Is what I'm hearing.
What?
Okay, so
what's the next question?
wait. So I gotta tell the answer. So 18% of people in the room figured out that you would like Punisher. So
18%?
82 thought that you were gonna go for Matt. So big shout out to the 18%. Make some noise for y'all.
I do want to be on the new Daredevil show. Can I change my name?
Whoa! No. Okay, would you rather fight a zombie or fight an alien?
Ooh. It's not really a fight with a zombie, they're just trying to eat you.
That is good.
It can get really boring after a while with just the headshots, right?
Mhm.
I'm gonna go with the alien.
You go for the
Because you
alien.
never know what you're coming with. And if I got 2 sabers, come on. Let's do this.
It's real, it's real. Okay.
Also, does someone know where this alien booth is? Because the stomach jumper
Wait, what?
is here. There was a little boy I signed for yesterday, and he had like he had it wrapped around his leg.
Get out.
A little plushie, like the little alien that pops out of your leg.
Yeah, you had a face like right on that's so cute.
Don't you remember when Sigourney and she was falling into the flames and she like popped out of her and she embraced it like a baby? I want to recreate that so bad. Everyone knows what a plushie is.
Somebody tweet that right now. Okay, so this is very interesting. So 64% said that they thought you would fight zombies.
I love me some zombies, and I keep waiting for the zombie apocalypse. But I have fought zombies already in Zombieland too.
That's
So
right,
just
that's
thinking,
right.
Keep you that.
We just figured, 36% figured that the Men in Black will show up, help you out fighting those aliens. So there you go, there you go. Not bad, not bad. Okay, so.
Sorry guys, I'm just like messing y'all up.
It's fun, it's fun.
It is fun.
Okay, so would you rather work at or movie?
I mean, I work at movies, and I wasn't even supposed to be here today. But the burgers are fire. And we also like suddenly do Bollywood dances.
Yeah, that's
so
right, that's right, that's right.
I kind of feel like that's gonna stop.
Okay, fair game, fair game. The after hours parties are off the hook. So 32% say quick stop. So 68% spot on with the movies. Good job, good job, good job. This question, I feel slightly offended that this was even asked, okay? Would you rather be a Jedi or a Sith?
Did you come up with this question?
It was not me. It was not me.
I mean, I am no Jedi. But I will never be a Sith.
So 30% of the people in here thought that you might be interested in some Sith action. What? Hold on.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. You think
Wow.
you think
Dark
you-
Soka.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But 70% of y'all make some noise. You do this, you will pick the channel. Okay, this one is agonizing to me as a comic book fan. Would you rather be Wonder Woman or Batgirl?
I don't have to choose.
Hey! Absolute truth.
I'm
Absolute
both.
truth. That's right. That's right. Wonder Batgirl. Yes.
Well, I haven't met Wonder Soka yet.
Okay.
But there's an awesome cosplayer who's created a character called Wonder Soka, and she's Wonder Woman and Ahsoka. So it would be dope to be like a Wonder Bat? Like, I don't know. Batwoman?
Batwoman?
I don't think a Wonder Girl doesn't really make
No,
sense.
it's not quite.
So, yeah.
No. Let's put that together. We can make a comic book.
Women Girl, Wonder Bat?
Women Girl? That's powerful.
Women Girl!
Women Girl!
Yes!
Stand up with it.
You were here, you heard it first.
So yeah, 80% say Wonder Woman, 20% say Batman.
Yeah, but I got to do both, and I think that's so fire. And both of them are doing, obviously, voiceover work. Bloodlines, I think, is one of my best
movie scores
projects
for
that
that.
I've ever done. Honestly, I remember when I watched that at New York Con, I kept being like, that was me, but like, it sounds like Wonder Woman. So good. And then with Lego Batgirl, my brother was very happy because he does a lot of cosplay. He does a lot of like Dungeons and Dragons kind of stuff with Legos. And he was really happy because getting a brown Lego is really challenging.
Right.
You know, the first Afro-Latino Batgirl.
Come on now.
So he like, of course, took all her costume and everything off. I was like, you're welcome. But he was really happy to have a brown head. So here we are. This is what I do for my brother. You know?
Okay, last one. Which game would you rather play? Dying Light or Ratchet and Clank?
Dying Light, sorry. I mean, Ratchet and Clank is pero.
But the whole microphone
Dying
turned
Light.
off.
And also, there I am, killing them zombies, though they're infected. They're not.
That's real. Okay, so in this one, 39% of you said Dying Light, and 61 said Ratchet and Clank. So we gotta study you more. That's all. We just gotta get to know you more. And this is
So
our
we're here
opportunity
for
to do
it.
just
It's
that.
like my therapy couch.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so getting into it so that we can know you a little bit better. Your acting origin story. How does this start? How do you get into this business that so many people have starry eyes and want to be a part of?
Hang out on your stoop.
It's the smile.
It's,
Come on.
it's the guffaw, actually. My dad had told me to go downstairs and get discovered because they were shooting a Vibe commercial on the block and they were looking for dancers, which I did dance as a silhouette in there somewhere.
Of course.
There, that exists. But then they were shooting something on my block as well, and I was, they were shooting that on the block, and there was this cute guy who wore the exact same outfit for 3 days, nasty, in the summer. And I was like, so I was there every single day watching him, and then there was this guy, because I lived in an abandoned building, and people were constantly looking to see if there were any open available apartments. And this guy came up and asked me if there was, and I was like, no. And he was like long hair and like piercing eyes and like robes. And I was like, he looks like Jesus. But he was talking, the stoop was built up by my dad and some of my neighbors, because coming home from school all the time, going through the basement, there would be people down there urinating or like having sex and all kinds of crazy stuff. So it was like, let's bring it upstairs. Let's have you come in through the lobby that they had to bust into. So I'm now on this platform that's 6 feet up, talking to this guy who looks like Jesus, but I can't hear him because he's like talking at eye level down there. And he kept like laughing, telling stories, but I couldn't understand. And I was just like, I'm trying to be polite. And then I thought, I'm humoring Jesus. And that made me guffaw. And I was like, and I really started laughing. And then this group of people turned around and looked at me. And it ended up being Harmony Korine and Larry Clark and the DP and a couple of the people in the crew. And they were scouting for locations. They ended up shooting down that block and a bunch of other areas in the places in the neighborhood. And they saw me and said, hey, like, Harmony's jumping up and down. He was like 18, 19. And he's like, oh my God, you like the character I wrote? Oh my God, this is great. You gotta be this. You gotta come and audition. And I'm like, Dad, these weird lascivious people who are asking me to be in a movie, even though they've never done one before. But then he took off his t-shirt, wrapped it up on the bike, on his bicycle, and he pedaled me over to Broadway. And it turned out to be a legitimate production office. Larry leaned out and was like, is that your boyfriend? I'm like, that's my dad. That's my dad. I auditioned and I got the part. And then there's history.
There it is. There it is. Now, if I could describe your career in one word, it would be iconic. Okay, from
You youngins just love throwing that word around.
no. It's been its turn, and you have from Ruby, Lala, Becky, all iconic characters. But there's a secret sauce that is authentically you. How do you bring that out? How do you find that voice for these individual characters that are so very different, but still wonderful because of you?
I know for me, the main thing that I think about with every single character, especially because oftentimes I played very small roles leading up, and they were quite often girlfriend roles or roles that sort of helped the protagonist in the story and had a lot of exposition, and they were oftentimes also very stereotypical roles, and they didn't necessarily jump off the page. But for me, like, I love storytelling. I think it is our most precious thing as human beings that we do. It is our most ancient way of communicating with each other and passing on tradition and culture. And so for me, it's like, this might be just some throwaway girlfriend role to you, but this is a person. And those stereotypes exist for a reason in a lot of ways, because they hit certain notes in characters and people. And so for me, I always look for the absolute truth in a person, and I want her to resonate, and I want her to stick, and I want you to remember her. And so I think that's always been my thing. Like, I remember with He Got Game, and people will be like, Lala, you did Jesus wrong. And I'm like, did you see him when he went to go visit the college? And the orgy he was a part of? That was totally okay. But like, for her, she's 16. She's 16, 17 years old. She's not making the sharpest decisions. But she also knows this guy's leaving her behind.
Right.
And she's just trying to figure out, she's being, she's definitely being manipulated herself. But, she's imperfect. She's human.
She's trying to survive.
She's a teenager. She's just trying to survive. And so it was really funny. I remember at the end, at the premiere for He Got Game, these women in the bathroom afterwards were like, I I can't believe what you did with Jesus, y'all. That's messed up. I felt you at the end, though. And I was like, yes, thank you. Because I remember that bench scene I really worked hard on to really give her a voice and remind you that she's a person and she's not just a device for this character. And I think that's just something that I've taken very seriously for each and every role.
I think we feel that every single time. Make some noise all the time. Stuff. You talk about Uncle Gus. We gotta talk about
Skunky. He calls me sausage.
Wow.
Isn't that rude? We'll be out. He'll be like, yo, sausage. And I'll be like.
that's So, from the characters that you portrayed as comic book folks, from Batgirl, Artemis, Wonder Woman, Alma Ortega, like, was he an influence in your fandom of comics?
Oh, yeah. No, we've talked about this. Like,
yes,
growing up, my uncle had this amazing comic book collection, and I think he was particularly supported in it because my grandmother used to have like #1 Superman and #1 Wonder Woman, and her mother threw them out.
Oh my God.
I know. So when her son found like a proclivity towards it and was like really into it, and like my mom used to be really supportive. You get all these A's in this, I'll get you these special blue pencils or whatever it is that you want, and the particular paper that he cared about. And so actually I saw Frank Miller here yesterday. Who got to see Frank? So fired. He was wearing his 300 shirt. I was like, I see you. And I remember him coming to visit me on set, and he was working on Spider-Man at the time, Uncle Gus. So he was literally in my trailer the entire time, not on set, but they heard that he was on the Sin City set, so they fired him because they were like, "You're not working." He was like, "I am working." You know what? Who cares? I'm on set. I'm gonna go hang out. And then I was talking to Frank about it. He was like, "How's Uncle Gus?" And he was like, "Is he still using those blue pencils?" So I'm like, "Nah, he's working digitally mostly now. I mean, he still does a little bit, but he's doing a lot of it digitally." I know he can do all the things. He does it all still. He does all the things. But it's just beautiful that I got to see that. So when I was younger, the real story here. When I was younger, he had this amazing comic book collection, and he would not let me touch them. And not only not that, I couldn't breathe on them. So, you know how we take some of our photos back to back? I would have to sit back to back with my uncle and read the comic like this. And then I would nod my head when I was done, and he would flip the page. So for me, growing up, comics were sacred texts.
Absolutely.
And so when I saw, I remember Sin City came up, and I was telling my team, I need to audition for this. This is going to be everything.
Right.
And they're like, okay, whatever, it's Robert Rodriguez. So they were kind of, okay, if they were interested, but I was like, no, Sin City. Do you understand that this is why my Forever Batman did one of the greatest performances of all time? Because we went from Go-Go Gadget Belt Batman,
Yes.
which I love me some Adam West, don't get it twisted, and thank God for Eartha Kitt.
Come on now.
But Michael Keaton's version of Batman is because of Frank Miller.
That's right.
Who was like, this
Make that
man
noise.
dressed up as a bat fighting petty crime as a billionaire in his spare time is clearly psychotic. As psychotic as the Joker is. And we should maybe investigate the darkness behind all of that. That guy has mental health issues, clearly. And it's that, it's that perspective on it that we're still playing with today. And so that's another reason why I'm really happy to be a part of Batgirl, because I have to say, it is a great iteration of Batman and Batgirl and all of that, and fits really beautifully into the Batman universe. I'm very happy to be a part of that.
Now, with you in comics, though, it's not just roles that you've portrayed. You made comics, you've been in comics. OCI, let's talk about it.
OCT?
I'm sorry.
Occult Crimes Task Force.
When I say I, you're absolutely right. So, getting into that side of creating, how fun was that to kind of jump into building something that other people could read and enjoy?
Well, I worked with that, obviously, with the great DNA, David and Atchison, amazing writer.
Make some noise.
And Tony Chastain, amazing artist. And some of y'all I've actually seen here who I was signing with, who remember when we came to Charlotte years ago. We were begging people to come to our booth to check out our little comic. And I've now also written again with David. We did a piece for La Borinqueña.
Yes.
Comic. And it just shows the power of comic books, right? Because with Reconstruction, he's been raising funds to help with relief from Hurricane Maria still, and the devastation that's gone on in the island, La Isla, Puerto Rico. And it's a very untapped market, and I have to to say how many people have come up to me during the signings and such, just being really grateful for that I use my voice for so many different causes and issues. And I just feel like that sense of humanity is very resonant in the comic community, and I think it's very untapped. So I was really excited for Edgardo using Labo in Kenya in that way, and to be able to have an opportunity to work with David again. I love him so much.
And Uncle Gus did a cover.
Wepa! I want someone to make me feel like Wepa all the time. Why do you not make me thank you?
And Uncle Gus did a very cover, right?
Yes,
so
he did.
You got to bring
and Frank Miller,
yes,
actually, and brought Wonder Woman into it, so
That's
it's fire.
fantastic.
Yeah, really, really dope.
That's
It's a
amazing.
great community. I love y'all.
Okay, so they have it slated to do another game on this one. This one, they didn't answer any questions. This is
okay.
literally just about it.
It's all about you. Forget about
We're
you.
just going karaoke right now. This is good. No, this is a never have I ever.
And then would you rather never have I ever?
Number one, never have I ever gone on a blind date.
Oh, I have.
Okay. Was it fun?
It was. I brought my little cousin Lee with me.
That's how you do
I
it.
did. She was like this. We went to the movies and she was looking at me like this the whole time. It was amazing.
What movie did you go see?
I can't remember now, but that guy did become my boyfriend.
Okay, all right, good times.
Yeah.
Lucky him. Entered a beauty pageant contest.
Actually, yes. Kind of.
Okay.
I got, do you guys remember John Robert Powers?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was living in Texas. Where my Texans at? So,
They out here.
right after kids, I got the check for $1,000 to work on kids. And we went on a road trip and then ended up moving to Texas. My
Right.
dad was born in Colorado, but moved immediately, like days later, to Waco, Texas, where he went to school. And so we have family in like the, Plano, Robertson, Dallas sort of area still. And I went to Garland High School. I'm gonna have to resurrect my glamour shot, my winter ball shot. It was fire. Of course, I never wore press-ons. And lots of eyebrow and hairspray. I got lost. What was I talking about? Sorry.
We're in a beauty pageant.
Beauty pageant, right. So we were in a mall, and someone was like, would you like to be signed up for this thing, John Roberts Powers, whatever? And then we ended up doing a little fashion show at this mall on this little stage in the middle of the afternoon. And I was first time walking out. Doing the whole thing. I was very proud. It was very exciting.
But I love how so many of these things in your career just people just saw you you want to try this? And you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do it.
You know what's interesting? Because for a lot of years there, which I think women, unfortunately, we tend to suffer from this more often than not, sadly, which I hope really just stops, that ends with this generation. But we feel this sense oftentimes of this what is it called? Dang, what is it called? I'm forgotten it now because I've taken it out of my system. But where you start to feel like you're not worthy, or you're
Whoa.
imposter syndrome. Thank you. I've taken it out of myself. I've taken it out of myself. But I felt a lot of sense of imposter syndrome, especially first thing I'm working with kids, or He Got Game and 25th Hour, and just with all these people, and they had college degrees and were just so incredible. And I just kept feeling people who'd gone to Juilliard for acting, and here I was just picked off the street. And I just kept thinking at some point the professionals were going to take over. And I remember I sat down with a really good friend of mine, Ashley, and she said, Rosario, if someone had come up to me on the street and asked me if I would have wanted to be in a movie, I would have said no. She said, you said yes.
Exactly.
You have to own that. You keep saying yes to these things, and then pushing yourself, and even when you're uncomfortable, so you have to just own it. And so I just want to let everyone know, if you ever feel like you're suffering from imposter syndrome, just stop. It's a scam. Because there are plenty of mediocre people out there who are yes, I'll be on a regular basis. And more than likely, if it makes you a little nervous, it's because it's exciting, and it's worth trying and putting your effort into. So just own it and enjoy it, and don't rob yourself of the experience. So when you have your yes, make it a definitive, and when you say no to something, own that too, because what you're really doing is saying yes to something else. So just own your yeses, please. Because I was just so anxious about messing up and just not disappointing people. And, you know, I'm really glad I'm not in that space anymore.
Indeed.
Because it does feel really good to just be present in your life.
I think we're all appreciative of you overcoming them and taking the roles that you have. So thank you.
Thank you. Look at you investing all the time.
Okay, so two more.
Okay.
Two more. Let me go for the ones that I think you maybe have never done, hopefully. Crash the wedding.
I have, actually. This was a fire wedding, too, I have to say, because I was at Burning Man. And the church was holding these, like, pieces of metal that kind of, like, had the full kind of look, but it was four, and then everything else was gone. And then there were just naked people, and they were getting married. And we like pedaled up on our bikes in the dust, and they were like, come join us. And we're like, okay. And so then we just watched these naked people get married, and we were very happy for them. And then we pedaled off and continued on our day. It was great.
As one does. I mean, it's just
all in a day. All in a day.
Okay, so the last one, played a practical joke on someone or directly just pumped someone.
No.
Never.
No, I mean, unless it's like trying to like boom somebody, because I'm
No,
not
that
good
doesn't
at
count.
that. I just don't think of them.
What?
Yeah, I'm not really good at like.
That's a great.
I know, which is so interesting. I'll share one that's really good that I heard about.
Okay.
So George Clooney once told me, not that I'm like name dropping, I've only met him a couple times, but he's very chatty. Okay, so he just like shared the story. He was like very proud of himself because apparently he's really into pranks.
Of course.
So he was at some friend's house who had a pet rat. My cousin used to have a pet rat, so I was very interested in the story. He had this white pet rat, and so he made a big show of wearing this rat on his shoulder for the in the party for like hours, and like walking around in each and every room, and people seeing the rat, and him being like, "Yeah, I got the rat." So then he like walked into the kitchen, took the rat off, and took a pair of big white socks that you kind of fold into it, and put that on his shoulder. And when he walked back out, people had been so used to seeing this white rat on his shoulder, they didn't even notice right away that it was this thing of big socks. And so he made this thing like he got bit, and he grabbed it and threw it across the room, and hit the wall, and slid behind the couch. And he's like, the whole place was like, I mean, what a setup, right?
That's good.
Isn't that good?
That's good. That's long game.
So that's what I'm saying. Like when I hear stories like that, I'm like, I don't think like that, man.
All right.
One of these days. But I'm glad I can share that one.
Absolutely. So, I think it goes without saying that we are all aching for more of your portrayal of Ahsoka Tano. However, I understand you grew up a fan of the other major Star series, and so rumor has it.
Mad at me all the time. I'm constantly referencing Star Trek on set. I'm like, in Star Trek, it's all screens. It's so analog. Star Wars is got all these buttons and switches.
So I heard tale, maybe rumor, that you speak a little Klingon.
No, it's literally the only word I know.
That's it.
I love that this has become that I understand the language, because I know someone who literally has the Bible in Klingon. There are people who go deep on it.
No? Okay, just checking.
But, so no, I don't have it that bad, but like, Michael Dorn, Mr. Worf himself, who I love so much. I feel like because I studied him so much, having to put that Klingon forehead all the time, and now that I don't have my George Clooney little haircut anymore and I've got my braids, you can see my six head, because it's like way bigger than my forehead. No, it's fine. So, my five head, my six head. So, growing up, I would look at him and be like, we got foreheads that match, I should be a Klingon one day. And so, it's kind of fire, because even though I'm in the alternate universe, I still have to wear a forehead piece. Did y'all know that? I'm wearing a forehead piece as Ahsoka.
That's right.
Because she can't have, she can't have wrinkles, because she's an alien. So,
You're close to it right now. I'm seeing that hair wrinkle.
that's okay, I'm 43, I can't have wrinkles, but not all of us get to get older. It's a beautiful thing. But I get to wear that forehead piece, which I really love. And I have to say, like, on the very first filming, the makeup artist actually gave me a forehead, because we would take it off every day, and he would save them in a drawer really weirdly, and I was like, I wonder what he's doing with those.
No, you don't.
And now I have one in a little case that I can put on my wall, which is great. So, but one of these days, maybe I'll be able to be a Klingon or something.
Yes. Tweet that, tweet it.
I just want to be in all the universes. That and a mutant, and then I'm good to go, guys.
Facts, facts. Okay, my last question, and I will totally let you off the stage.
My long-winded
Yeah,
ass. That's true.
So you played so many badass characters, and I'm just curious as to which one you think would win in an all-out Rosario brawl. If you put these 4 characters in a ring, only
You're
one
like a
can
Spider-Man
answer.
meme
That's
right
right.
now, right?
Yeah. four wonderful women enter, one may leave. Okay. We're gonna put in there. We're gonna go for Gail,
Okay.
Abernathy,
Yep.